Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Those are the words of Simone Weil, the 20th century French philosopher and Christian thinker. And I think they're profound. Can you remember the last time you had someone's undivided attention? Undivided attention. A time when you were listened to, when the person wasn't listening to you at the same time as reading the newspaper, or at the same time as watching their favourite programme, or at the same time as scrolling through their newsfeed, but they were present with you, they were listening to you. Can you think of a time like that? A time without the pinging of notifications and the busyness that distracts and detracts from this kind of pure attention. Can you remember the last time you felt heard and understood and loved as a result of someone attending to you? Because when we experience that, it's like a precious gift. It's generosity. Attention is generosity. Is that the kind of attention you give to the people in your life? Is that the kind of attention you give to God? Simone Weil also said that absolutely unmixed attention is prayer. So when we give God our undivided attention, we're praying, and when we give others our undivided attention, it's an act of generosity. I love that. The title of this morning's sermon is Attending to the Hidden Christ. And I chose those words, attending to, because they carry more than one meaning. So on the one hand, attending to can mean paying attention to, giving someone something your attention, which is that generous attention Simone Weil speaks of. You are attending to my words, the words of the sermon right now. At least that's what I tell myself. You're attending to what I'm saying. You're paying attention. You're giving that attention. But attending to, it can also mean giving practical help, or caring, or looking after. So a nurse attends to a patient. A parent attends to a child. And these different types, the first type is more about being with. And the second type is more about doing for. Being with and doing for. And they're both important, crucial. And there's overlap between the two as well. But it's these different dimensions I want to bring out when we're talking about attending to the hidden Christ, which I think is the central theme of Jesus' teaching on the sheep and the goats. Now, this is going to be a really short sermon, actually. But first I need to tell you something that is not true. That is not true. The story of the sheep and the goats is a parable. It's not true. It's not a parable. A parable starts with the ordinary stuff of present day life, and then from that moves to the kingdom of God, and to talk about the kingdom of God. Whereas what we have here is the opposite. This is an apocalyptic drama. It starts with an image of the fullness of the kingdom of God, and then moves back to the ordinary things of present day life. It's saying a lot about the present day life. It's saying a lot about now. It's saying a lot about what we do now. It starts with this triumphant image. When the Son of Man comes in glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne, and he will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. You're thinking, I wish I sat on a different side of church this morning when I came in. If only you knew. The sheep's on his right, the goat's on his left. Matthew's Gospel was primarily written for Christians. Not exclusively, but primarily it was a Christian community. People who had already confessed Jesus is Lord. And so the majority of these readers or listeners, if they couldn't read, would have seen themselves as sheep. They would have seen themselves as sheep, not goats. They would have seen themselves as sheep. Who would want to be a goat? Who would want to be a goat when you can be a sheep at Jesus' right hand, destined for eternal life? Everyone's saying, I want to be Jesus' right-hand man, right-hand woman. I want to be Jesus' executive assistant in the kingdom. I want to attend to the affairs or his affairs for all of eternity. I want to attend to the King. Now, some of these people who heard this would have found all of this a little unsettling. Because after the sheep and the goats are divided, the king says to the sheep, those in his right hand, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was ill and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me." But what is shocking here is that those at the right hand don't have a clue about this. They don't have a clue about it. They say, "Lord, when? When did we do any of these things for you?" And he says, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Whereas for the goats, the king says the opposite. "Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do one of the least of these, you did not do for me." Okay, so what's going on here? What's Jesus doing with this teaching? He's drawing this big, bold line between eternity and present day life, between the King of the universe and the ordinary person in need. It's as if Jesus is saying through this teaching, if you want to attend to me in the future, start by attending to me right now, where I am hidden in ordinary life. Don't wait until the kingdom comes in fullness. You can give me your attention right now. There's this great early Christian saying in Hebrews that goes like this: "Show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing some people have entertained angels without knowing it." I love that. And Jesus' sheep and goats teaching takes that kind of one step further, not only entertaining angels, but entertaining Christ. Entertaining Christ without even knowing it. We need to get to grips with this idea that Christ is often hidden and we can serve him without knowing it is him. Now, in this church, we love to talk about how Christ is the revelation. I think barely a sermon goes by where we don't talk about Christ being the ultimate revelation of God, that we see clearly who God is when we look at Jesus' life, Jesus' death, Jesus' resurrection. We see in the person of Jesus that God is truly for us when we look at Christ. He saves us at the cross. He's raised to life that we might be raised with him. He saves us from death and sin and all our destructive ways. He is good news. He is the gospel. He is Lord. But we cannot take that. We cannot take the revelation of Christ without accepting the hiddenness of Christ too. Because he's hidden among the hungry, he's hidden among the thirsty, he's hidden among the homeless, he's hidden among the naked, the sick, and the imprisoned. And we serve him by serving them, and we attend to him by attending to them. And it's mysterious, and sorry about that, but that's just the way it is. I can't explain it exactly. But we serve him by serving them. We attend to him by attending to them. Now, if you're like me, you might not be, but if you're like me, you get overwhelmed with all of this kind of stuff, thinking, what on earth can I do? There is so much going wrong in the world. There's so many people at home and abroad who need help. There's so many people who are vying for my attention and time and resources. There's so many causes I could support. And it is overwhelming. That is reality. For anyone who's feeling that this morning, here's just a thought that came to mind for me. Given the reality that your attention is so precious, I wonder if we need to give it to one person and one cause at a time. Simone Weil wrote that attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Don't feel like you have to be attending to everyone, giving everyone your attention, serving everyone. I know you'd love to, But you can't. Just one at a time. Just one person at a time. One cause at a time. Give your attention to one. Attend to someone, because someone is better than no one, as if they are Christ himself. Give your attention to someone as if they're Christ himself. And if you're able to, attend to them with practical help too. But it's like a weight lifted when we realise we can just start with one. We don't need to get overwhelmed by the many things that are going on. Just start with one. On the way back from Oxford last Sunday, Jenny and I broke down on the motorway and the middle part of the exhaust had come off and it was grinding along the road and making an awful sound. And the breakdown recovery driver came pretty quickly. It was fantastic. And I was thinking about this idea of attention and attending to, and different ways he was attending to, because he was attending to the breakdown, but he was also attending to us in the way that he was giving us and the car his attention to work out what's the issue. But he was also attending to in the form of practical help and getting us to where we needed to go and working out what the problem was and all of that. So many different aspects of attention. But actually on the other side of the road, someone's Mini had got a tyre puncture, and it was just at the side of the road in a really dangerous place actually. And he could have left us at the side of the road to attend to that Mini, but actually he was with us at that point, and he was giving us the attention at that point, and he could have had his attention going in all different directions. He's probably getting calls through about the next job and the next job and the next job, but he stayed with us for the time being, giving us that attention. The people who we met through that BMS video, they weren't just some random people from South Sudan. They weren't just some random people. They are precious people. They really are. Christ is among them, perhaps hidden, but Christ is among them. He's present in them, among them. He's with them. Thank you for giving those people your attention this morning. And seriously, thank you for giving your attention to them. And I don't know who you're going to encounter this week. I really don't. I don't know who I'm going to encounter either. But imagine if we were generous with our attention. That we gave people time and space and love without distraction and without overwhelm. Imagine if we treated each person in need as the hidden Christ. Imagine if we sought to give our attention to one person at a time without getting overwhelmed by the many complexities and needs that are in our world. Imagine if we took time each day to give our attention to God, and then out of that contemplation attended to other human beings in ways that actually met their needs and listened to them and heard them and blessed them. May we be as eager to attend to the hidden Christ in the present day as we are to attend to Christ the King throughout all eternity. Amen.